Welcome back. We're here for week 3 at Hell's Kitchen. You want to know who chefed shit up? My opponent, Jumpy. Anyways, let's talk about this matchup. So, Mega Cinderace. First time finding one of these Radical Red G-Max Megas. Fuck these things. They're annoying. I'm gonna have an ability that gives me free boots. Fuck you, stupid rabbit. You don't need free boots. Buy them with your broke ass. Keldeo, Petulant, annoying Pokemon. Keldeo does bits to my team if we just ignore the fact that Primarina and Tangrowth exist. Petulant, just really hard for my team to break overall. It's hard for a lot of teams to break. Mega Absol could do it, but that means I have to bring Mega Absol, and we all know that shit isn't happening. Arboliva, can create a game state where I'm trying to break a sub or trying to kill this fucking thing before it gets too many harvests off and it just gets free turns. Jirachi, I mean, we all know it can do other stuff, but we all know what set's coming. It's always Scarf Iron Head, because if you can fish for that flinch, why not do it? Clefable, just really threatening Pokemon that I was really expecting to see into my team. I mean, like, my greatest answers to it are really just Skarmory, Overquill, right? But it being unaware does stop a lot of my more threatening Pokemon like Primarina and Volcarona from just setting up and sweeping. Donphan, good Pokemon. I love it. A good all-rounder. Stealth Rock, Spinner, Ice Shard, can do some fun stuff. Moltres just punishes me for ever clicking a physical move. Hydreigon has a lot of potential to reverse sweep. Chekhov's gun. Zoroark Hisui can just be annoying because it can, bait certain attacks, and it can. There's a game state where I could get in to where I get fully baited, and get PP stalled like an absolute goon, and then hit him on top another spinner and an intimidator for my otherwise very physical team. But let's go ahead and just jump right here into the breakdown of the team. So we got our Go Octagawa, the Dragapult with sub T-Wave Hex Dragon Darts. This set was made to specifically beat and Arboliva with that Infiltrator and just kind of damaging it over time. We got Hex to hit that Petulant, do some massive damage to it. It'll also hit Jirachi. Wouldn't be hitting Hisui and Zoroark, but that's also fine by me. But T-Wave also on this team makes a lot of things a lot less threatening. Like Cinderace, Keldeo, like if I make them slower than my other Pokemon, then they just become a non-threat. He didn't even hit the field this week, which makes me happy, because if there was a situation where this guy hit the field, then my game plan changed entirely. The game plan for this week was to really just kind of figure it out as I went. I shit you not, Jumpy's team has so many things that could come that I just could not 100% predict what he was going to bring, so it was just kind of a prep for everything and hope for the best. Scarf, Landorus, Therian. I'm now beginning to understand why this Pokemon is as valuable as it is in draft, because even though you know what it's bringing, it's still such a threat to you, man. I mean, it's like, what are you doing against this thing? We slap a Choice Scarf on it, 145 attack Earthquake. Just look at this team, and you tell me who wants to eat that. Arboliva and okay, like I guess Moltres and Hydreigon can eat it, but if we ignore Levitate, right, they don't want to eat that shit. They are not. This team does not like Scarf Landorus. It's kind of insane. But we're bringing back, that Explosion, Earthquake, knockoff U-turn. Explosion here was just kind of a way to shred a Moltres or a Hydreigon or something that got out of control that I outsped, and I really wanted it out of there, except for like Jirachi and Hisui and Zoroark, which there's a situation that could have happened, would have been fucking hilarious, where like he sends out Clef, but it's not Clef, and it's Zoroark, and then I click Boom, and I just throw in my Lando into the fucking Zoroark. But that didn't happen. I'm so happy for it. But there's just really nothing special about this set, right? It's Scarfed, max speed, because there's not anything I wanted to speed creep, but just in case something came up, I was going to make sure I outsped, and then just did Adamant, because I don't think I needed Jolly Scarf against this team, right? Because I still didn't outspeed Jirachi. So yeah, just double Intimidate core here with Overquill here. So basically just his special attackers aren't much of a threat to me, and his physical attackers are no longer a threat to me with this double Intimidate. And they kind of do different things for each other, right? Like, I mean, Overquill isn't exactly an ice resistance, but with the way that's like how fat it is, I can just switch it on like some ice attacks, to like get some good pivoting going, and get some intimidate drops off on everything that otherwise would be really threatening. So speaking of which, Overquill with Taunt to prevent any defogs from Moltres, any setup from other Pokemon. Mortal Spin to spread poisons for this this Dragapult in the back. Crunch to hit Pecharunt and Zoroark Hisui, and just to maybe get some defense drops. And then Barb Barrage because it's a good move. I'm clicking Mortal Spin. Barb Barrage kind of just hits everything pretty well minus Pecharunt and Jirachi, but then Crunch hits both of them. So then we're good there. Nothing too insane. A little bit of speed to outspeed like a max speed Clef, I do believe. I think that's what that investment was for, was to outspeed like a fast Clef that was trying to speed creep like my Tangrowth or something. I don't know. I just know there was enough speed to outspeed that Clef. Max HP, some Spadef investment just to make sure that I can eat some like Moonblast or Ice Beams a little bit better. Skarmory, the fucking GOAT, Mr. Sigma Boy himself, the Chad Bird. Stealth Rock Roost, Toxic Brave Bird. I really debated making this a much more passive set with spikes. So glad I didn't, because if I did, I would have lost instantaneously. Shout out to Fitzgerald, the Skarmory, though. He's low-key my GOAT. In this matchup here, right? Good Spadef. I didn't need any defense investments. We'll see why. I was just eating hits for breakfast here. I brought leftovers just because I like the longevity, because there is a situation where I end up in a stall battle with Jirachi where I try and PP stall it out of Iron Head, and that leftovers would be really nice. Sturdy to guaranteed rocks or like maybe kill something in return, because weak armor, Kenai aren't amazing here. But yeah, just Roost Toxic, right? Because my game plan was to send in this Dragapult late game with Hex and kind of just tear holes through teams. So the Toxic also helped me do it, and it also helped deal with Arboliva, which was just a Pokemon that I've ran into enough times playing casually that it's just not fun to deal with. I love games that take 50 turns because it's sub-Leech Seed. And if you just don't bring an answer to it, you lose. But yeah, Skarmory, nothing to say here. Like this Brave Bird, it had some attack investment to like guaranteed pop a sub on like a big Fizdef Seed Sour Grassy Seed Arboliva. A bit overkill, yes, but at the same time, this thing having a little bit of attack investment also made hits slightly harder, which was nice. But it's just a very standard Skarmory set here. Mega Gallade here, just 4 attacking moves, because this Pokemon, what it doesn't outspeed, I can attempt to live a hit from. I can't. I'm so lying. From what I'm just looking at here, right, Keldeo is like base 108, I do believe. So the only things that really outspeed this without a Scarf are like Cinderace, and I think Zoroark and it Speed Tie. But like the 4 attacking moves, Close Combat hits, Hydreigon, it hits Jirachi for neutral, Donphin for neutral. It's just Stab, right? So for whatever reason, I may need to click it. I click it. We've got Knockoff for Pecharunt, Jirachi, just anything that wants an item, you can't have it. Psycho Cut to specifically break like a Pecharunt that's like setting up in my face, to try and crit through it, and just stab Psychic Move for whatever reason I can't click Close Combat. And then Poison Jab to break specifically this Clefable. It hits nothing else, but I needed a move for Clef. And if in this matchup, both of our teams are a little bit more offensively biased, just from what I'm seeing here, right? Like it rewards you for just clicking and attacking what's in front of you. So I was never going to really, just have setup here. It didn't make sense to bring SD. I would never get to bring it. There's like a point to be made that like I could bring Shadow Sneak, but I value breaking the Clef a little bit too much for that. And then lastly, this one was a last minute edition. I almost brought, who did I almost bring in place of this? I almost brought Volcarona here, but then I just realized that it's like, yeah, I could go +6 and sweep, but like the chances, that's risky. That's a risky move to make when we've got like Jirachi, we've got Pokemon out here that could, I don't think he has a single Pokemon that can take the Psychic, Bug Buzz, Fiery Dance. Like I think that hits everything on his team for at least neutral. So that's rough for him. But it's just the way that his team plays. I didn't want to ever put myself in a position to where I just have a Volcarona, which without setting up is fine. but it's really only a big threat once it's set up. So I figured I'd bring something that can set up, but also can act as a defensive answer to a lot of things on this team. Like the big threat Cinderace here. It can help take on Hisuian Zoroark. It just smacks Hydreigon in the face, like, unless it's bringing Belch. I think that's the only poison move it gets. I'm not sure. I know Hydreigon gets poison moves though. I know it. I think Belch is one of them. I've seen that set in like Gen 8 RU before. But Draining Kiss, Scald, Psychic Noise. Psychic Noise was to just like stop a Clef, stop an Arbolivo, stop a Petrarant from healing it all. Nothing too crazy though. Kabaya Berry allowed me to always live from like an Adamant, Cinderace, Gunk Shot, and then kill it back with Scald. And then this extra defense was just to take certain hits better. I think with no investments with the Kabaya Berry is how I lived, or it's like full HP with the Kabaya Berry. I lived the Gunk Shot and kill back. So yeah, other than that, there's really just not a lot. 100 special attack just to make sure I rip some holes through teams. But let's go ahead and get into that game really quickly. So the lead matchup was very interesting here, right? It's obvious with how my team is set up that I'd always go Skarm. Jirachi here. At first, I thought my boy was bringing some heat shit and wasn't going to bring, like, the Paraflinch Jirachi shit. Because I see Shadow Ball, and I was like, oh, that's real as fuck. And then I look at that damage, and I was like, that's Zoroark. So I switch out here to predict another Shadow Ball from the Zoroark. Boom. And then this is where it confirms that it's, like, Zoroark. Because, like, or not confirms it, but, like, I was just looking at the damage. I was like, okay, so that is Zoroark. That's not Jirachi, 100%. He goes out into Moltres here. I click Crunch, risking the burn on this. I click Taunt to prevent the defog, and then I switch out here just to prevent any unnecessary burn because I like this being healthy. So that way I can regain some HP, right, and I'm not losing to burn chip, and then it allows me to just kind of hurt everything on his team with Crunch and Barb Barrage. Brave Bird here does a little bit more than I liked, but this immediately stops me from eating a Gunk Shot from Cinderace, so that's a bad spot to be in. He's going to go out into the Zoroark here. I'm going to take down that Zoroark a good chunk. Intimidate come in here. I'm going to eat a Sludge Ball on this. This Pokemon is still doing a lot of damage. 16%, I mean, is kind of insane into a resisted fat Pokemon like this. By no means killing. I don't know why Jumpy stays in here. I mean, I guess this Pokemon has effectively served its purpose and it's not doing much else here. Unless it's Scarf. If it's Scarf, then it does beat Dragapult, and you most definitely should have kept this alive. But I just go for a Mortal Spin here, just in case he does switch out for whatever reason. Just covering all of my bases. And then I click Crunch here to take the kill. Overquill doing its job here pretty well. He goes Keldeo. I am horrified at this Pokemon, but I stay in because it's going to click Mortal Spin. He goes out into the actual Jirachi, predicting the Mortal Spin. He eats it. And then I go out into Skarmory here. I eat an Ice Punch. That's why I was like, I didn't need any defense investment because I do just fight this. I also thought about Rocky Helmet for a bit, and then I ultimately decided against it. We get Skarmory to full on this turn. This is huge. This is like genuinely huge, and it'll come up later. The fact that I got that Roost off that turn, which is so awesome for me. I go back out into Overquill here because I know this Moltres has Brave Bird. But also the defog gets off there, which is like fine because at the end of the day, this has Boots. This Cinderace has that ability that prevents it from taking rocks damage. And there's just not a lot on his team that I really want taking rocks chip. Like granted, if they stayed up, it would make some rolls easier, but other than that, it's not huge. I get a Mortal Spin off here on this Keldeo, which makes my job easier later. He's going to Surf. I'm going to live. I'm going to click Barb Barrage, and I'm going to bring him into poison or 2 turns of poison. He's going to switch out here. As I switch out into Skarmory, he's going to flip turn. He's going to go out into Cinderace. It's fine by me. I go Overquill to get Intimidate off. I'm still going to die to this Pyro Ball. Obviously, this is a Pokemon with like 137 attack. It's kind of insane. Blew my shit up. I go Landorus here. I switch out into Primarina to predict this Keldeo switch here. And then he goes out into the actual Jirachi. He clicks U-turn. Goes back out into Moltres. I'm not sure why he went out into Moltres here. Maybe I think it's just to do bigger damage to me, which makes sense to just have Moltres kill itself there, I guess. Cinderace comes back out. It's going to click U-turn. Fizdef showing up, 0.5%. I mean, hey, man, I know it sucked. It was a rough roll, but at the end of the day, I think it saved you some differential, if anything, Jumpy, so just it wouldn't have mattered that much. Scald does a nice 50. Like, this Pokemon hasn't even set up, and it's just doing damage like that. Ice Punch to kill off my Primarina here. We go out into the Landorus. I eat the Ice Punch. That was a really dumb play on my part. I knew this had Ice Punch. I still switched it out. I knew it was 100% Scarfed. And I still let it just come in and die. I, like, take so much damage. Because there's a situation where that genuinely lost me the game. And I'm glad that it didn't. Because, like, Serene Grace Freeze there would have just made me quit on the spot. I'm not going to lie. Skarmory comes out here and basically just sentences this Jirachi to death. So we Brave Bird, we get some chip off. Well, the Jirachi dies there. And then we get the big, fat, gassy Hydreigon itself here. So the only set that I knew about that Jumpy posted about after this was a Belch Salic Berry set with Substitute and Nasty Plot, which is, like, so insane. I love that. I think that is so cool. Unfortunately, with my team, because you have to run Belch to just kill Primarina, and the Salic Berry gives you the +1 to outspeed Dragapult, and he had Dragon Pulse, so you get locked into the 4-move syndrome. You need Nasty Plot, you need Substitute, but then that leaves you with, and then you have to take Belch, because it's the poison move that kills Primarina. So then that leaves you with one coverage move, and he decided that Dragon Pulse was the best one. I personally think Dark Pulse would have been better, as it would have broken Skarmory here. But also, a thing that I didn't realize that would have mattered here is that this Skarmory does enough damage to prevent the Salic. It does just enough damage to prevent the Salic from coming off, and does enough to kill. So look, we go for the one here that's at 35. So I did 41. So unless I, like, incredibly low roll on this next one, I guarantee kill that Hydreigon. This Dragon Pulse is going to come out. If that were Dark Pulse, I want to say that Dark Pulse would have killed. Brave Bird back here. So that takes care of that. And I still had a Gallade in the back, too, to deal with that. I switch out Skarmory here. This is rough for my opponent here. I'm not going to lie. He misses a Pyro Ball. At the end of the day, I'm going to preach this. Don't bring moves that can miss. Especially if you're going to get mad when they miss, right? Like, this game is supposed to be fun, and, like, me personally, right, the way I have the most fun is I don't like missing. So I try my best to bring moves that do not miss. And if I do, I'm okay with missing them in this game plan. Here, if you would have landed that Pyro Ball, you would have gotten more differential. I'm in a sticky situation where I have to try and live an attack with Gallade to bring it down, and then I have a much less clean endgame here than I would have otherwise. So that Pyro Ball miss, very rough, and I'm Scarfed here, so I outspeed. Whether or not that Pyro Ball would have killed or not, I don't know. Most likely, coming off a 137 base attack, even at -1, it would most likely kill. But other than that, it's just Earthquake for game. I do feel a little bit bad about that miss there, right? Because it would have forced me into a much less comfortable position, and I got really greedy. Ultimately, should have went Skarmory, sacked Skarmory to get a clean, or stayed in with Skarmory to get a clean switch out into it. But other than that, I think that game was pretty clean. I knew my game plan as far as once I saw everything here. It was like, okay, get into a position where everything is chipped. We need to kill this, and we need to kill this, and then we can just kind of rip through this team with Earthquake. And then even if that didn't work, I still had a Dragapult and a Mega Gallade in the back. And once Cinderace and this are gone, Gallade and Dragapult just kind of have their way with this team, which is really nice. And I'm glad that I had a contingency plan of these two. So it really depended on what things lived and what things died, because I was still trying to find out sets while I was doing this. So really it was like, for the Landorus game plan, I need to get rid of Moltres, I need to get rid of Hydreigon, and I need to get this Keldeo chipped a little bit, and then I can shred through it. And then if for whatever reason Landorus dies, or I need it to do something else here, like knock off spam or eat some attacks and just keep pivoting the Intimidate, I always had Dragapult and Gallade, but if I wanted to go the Dragapult Gallade end route, I needed to get rid of Cinderace and this Zoroark and I guess the Jirachi, but I don't think the Jirachi, with the way that it was doing damage, would have been able to really hurt Gallade. I mean, there's a situation where, like, Scarf Iron Heads me to death, and throwing away Jirachi that soon when he did was, you know, like, it could have done a lot there, you know. It outspeeds all of my team with a Scarf and could Iron Head everything to death. But other than that, like, I think Jumpy played well, right? Like, was he able to predict that I was going to bring a Skarmory that does just enough damage to prevent... Like, I didn't do this on purpose, I want to say. I just wanted to have, like, some oomph behind those Brave Birds. So, like, how was Jumpy supposed to know that I was just going to bring the perfect Pokemon that kind of just beat him either way, right? Like, with that, if that would have been Dark Pulse, it would have been a reverse sweep of a Sentry. If I had not had, like, if this were like that, and he brought Dark Pulse, it would have been the reverse sweep of the Sentry. But, like, at the end of the day, man, I think Jumpy played well. He brought good sets. He brought fun sets from what I saw. Fireball Mist did suck, though. But, I mean, like, Cinderace is a fucking fraud anyways. Has to steal his boots and get them for free. Just go buy your own, you fucking bum ass. But, anyways, week 4 coming soon-ish. I don't know if my opponent's actually playing in the league, but we'll get into that. Video, hopefully next week around the same time. But, yeah, nothing too crazy. So that puts me at 1 loss, 2 wins with a +2 different... Well, hold on. We can check together, guys. Standings. So it hasn't been updated for week 3. So I was 1-1 with -2. So I'd be 1-2 with a 4-0. So I'm 1-2 with a +2, which would put me around Shaz, and yeah, I think that's it. But with that being said, I will catch you hopefully next week for another video. Bye-bye for now.